Welcome, wrestling fans. You got Bill Schuyler, the show here at One Wrestling NXT Invasion, the debut. I told you it was coming, and it's here now. And that's One Wrestling. You know it well. You hear from us every Thursday night at One Wrestling Goes Old School with my partners, Billy Ray and Big Ray. And we talk about old school wrestling. And as always, we are overseen by the legend, the icon, the godfather, the wrestling guru himself, Bill Apter at Apter 1 Wrestling. NXT is the hottest promotion going on in the WWE universe, outshining Raw and SmackDown week in and week out. It is the best product that the WWE has under its universe, hands down. They are what I consider the WWE's version of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla on the East Coast. It may not be as hardcore, it may not be as violent, alright, as Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, but what they're doing is teaching these guys the right way and how to make it so their careers will go on and they can make money and survive and become superstars in decades to come, not just burning out in a few years. NXT has become its very own promotion. It is no longer just a developmental territory. They are going on the road down south throughout the Georgia and Florida areas. Vince has given the key to Triple H and Stephanie McMahon to run this promotion any way they see fit. And what they have been doing is picking up the cream of the crop of the independent wrestling scene over the past year and a half, whether it be from Dragon Gate, Evolve, Ring of Honor, New Japan, the UK, you name it, throughout the wrestling world. The biggest names in the business have been signed to NXT. And with that, they are now unleashing the future of the WWE, because believe it, take it to the bank, the guys you're seeing now are going to be the superstars of the future, and they are going to carry the company sooner than many of these guys who are on the main roster think possible. I want to talk about, they have a weekly show. It's 1 hour every Thursday night. It is packed from beginning to end. Commercials, This is action, promotions, guys on the stick. They are learning. They got some green guys, and you got plenty of guys who have been at the top of the heap, wrestling world champions through different promotions throughout the world. Their women's division blows away the Divas division, hands down. Their world champion is the best in the business, one of the greatest high flyers, Adrian Neville, formerly known as Pac. I'm not going to go into all these guys and who they were out in the indies tonight. We'll talk about that down the road at another time, and we'll go into the history of the various superstars in NXT and who and where they were in the past, and the feuds and the connections and tag teams and whatnot that they had amongst each other. They also have super shows, kind of like Clash of the Champions or Saturday Night's Main Event. They've had 3 so far. The third just taking place 2 weeks ago. A brief synopsis was, it was NXT's Fatal 4-Way Takeover. We had new tag team champions. The reigning champions for 344 days, the Ascension, were defeated by the Lucha Dragons of Kalisto and Sin Cara. These guys took the show to the stratosphere. Lucha Dragons are an excellent tag team. Kalisto is one of the best high flyers in the business. Sin Cara is not, of course, the original Sin Cara. He is the man known as Camacho. I am not a big fan of him. I'm not going to go into that. I think there's better wrestlers they could have had to don the mask, but he has improved, and he's a bigger, stronger Sin Cara, so he kind of evens out the smaller, high-flying Callisto, and it proved it here by them taking the straps off of the Ascension, a team that no one could beat for nearly a year. They say the Ascension are on their way to the main roster. Time will tell. But the word going out now is that guys are not going to be rolling from developmental NXT to the main rosters anymore willy-nilly as it comes, because they would go up and get lost in the shuffle. No, they're going to have these guys being fought over by general managers from SmackDown and Raw. Things are going to be changing in the WWE televised promotion. You're going to have them perhaps drafts going in to bring guys to the main roster, guys from the main rosters coming down to NXT in trades. How they're handling this yet, I'm not sure, but what I know is they're going to make superstars in NXT, and these guys, when they are ready to go to the big leagues, there'll be no excuses. They'll no longer be green in the ring or on the stick. They will be ready to take it to the top and headline and be mid-card or main event without a doubt from the moment they step foot on Raw and SmackDown. Following that match, we had the NXT Women's Championship on the line. The Nature Boy's daughter, Charlotte Flair, defending against Bayley in an example of what the WWE Divas division should be. The women in this WWE NXT Championship division are outstanding. They are, in my opinion, neck and neck with the Knockouts from Impact Wrestling. The Divas themselves, the ones that they push, just do not come close to the girls down here in NXT. And I'm telling you now, Charlotte Flair is a superstar, and she will be one of the greatest women's champions in WWE history. You heard it here, you're hearing it now. I'm telling you this, she's got it all. She is genetically endowed with the gifts from her father. She has outstanding moveset. She does along with a figure four, which you knew was coming, she does a figure four headlock that is unbelievable, and she is all over the ring. She does moonsaults. She is tall, she is strong, and she is also fantastic on the mic. Would there be any doubt that the Nature Boy's kid would not be able to talk it like she walks it? Charlotte defeating Bayley and retaining her title. We had next the newcomer Baron Corbin, nearly 7 foot tall, going up against Captain Planet himself, CJ Perkins. Well, in 30 seconds, Baron Corbin did his best to remove the carbon footprint of one CJ Perkins. In less than 30 seconds and 3 moves, he completely and utterly destroyed CJ Perkins, leaving him a tattered, battered wreck, a pile in the ring to be shuffled off by the referees and taken to the back. Baron Corbin is a beast. He's 7 foot tall. He's tattooed. He looks mean as hell. And while he is, of course, new, he is green. Gets the right promotion, the right manager, the right tag team partner. The sky's the limit for Baron Corbin. We then had the guy by the name, if you're not familiar, these are 2 guys from Jersey, New York, North Jersey area, Enzo Amore and Big Cass Cassidy. Carmella was not with them tonight. Enzo is a smaller kind of guy. He is more cruiserweight. He is a definite guy that took the school of thugonomics that John Cena was teaching back in the day, and he seems to me to be like a good mix between the professor of thugonomics and one Diamond Dallas Page and the Jersey Triad, if you recall that from WCW fans. That's the type we're talking. These guys are excellent on the stick. The crowd, they were eating out of their hands. Going up against the Legionnaires, Sylvester Lefort, in a hair versus hair match. Old school. I loved it. I have not seen one of these matches in some time. They had a big bucket of what I guess you would say was magic shave to douse the head of the loser and just take that hair right off the head. The match itself was not the greatest in the world. These guys are a little green in the ring. As great as they are on the stick, they need to put a little more time in the ring. I think it's coming. Enzo's going to be a big star in this business. Big Cassidy, again, another 7-footer. Reminds you of a guy that he looks like Edge's big brother. And Sylvester lost the match and then escaped, running away, leaving his partner to be taken out by Big Cass and Enzo, and they dunked that bucket of magic shave on his head. He ran off the stage, and later on he would come back with his hair completely bald and patches and eyebrows gone, everything. It was entertaining, to say the least. These guys I see, give them a year, and these guys are going to be at the top of their game. We then had the introduction of one of the greatest signings in recent WWE history. It was first announced by the immortal Hulk Hogan that Kenta, as he went to Japan to show the signing of Noah's greatest superstar, then they came here to the States, and it's been all about Kenta and how great he is. And for those who don't know Kenta, I will tell you this: the Go to Sleep, Bryan Danielson's, or Daniel Bryan's, main movesets, him and CM Punk were heavily influenced by Kenta and borrowed quite liberally from his arsenal. It'll be interesting to see how Kenta fits in using or not using these movesets. But we get him to come out. He's introduced by Regal. He talks in Japanese and in English, and thanks the WWE for giving him the honor of coming in and being that he is starting a new chapter in his life. He is picking the name of a hero of his, Hideo Itami. He will no longer be known as Kenta. Hideo Itami, the new name for the superstar of Japan. Kenta, I don't have a problem with it. I like the way they did it, where he picked the name. It wasn't just given to him where nobody knew where it came from, so fans still know he's Kenta. The announcers continue to talk it up. Very interesting. The Ascension stormed the ring, and they beat down Itami and toss him out of the ring and tell Regal they want a rematch for their titles right away. Itami's not having it and was back in the ring. He takes off his suit jacket, he loosens his tie, and kick style goes into full effect, and he takes out the former nearly year-long tag team champions by himself. Yes, Hideo Itami made a statement tonight, and Kenta, Hideo Itami, will be a major player in the NXT universe. We then had Bull Dempsey going up against Mojo Rawley. Bull Dempsey is a big guy, a guy I'd like to see either feuding with or tagging up with Rusev. Yeah, they're two big guys. He does a massive flying headbutt. He is a beast. And in a squash match number 2, he utterly destroyed Mojo Rawley. It was not a pretty sight, to say that for sure. We then had the fatal 4-way. This was a 5-star match from bell to bell. We had Sami Zayn going up against the champion Adrian Neville, against Tyson Kidd, against Tyler Breeze, And I cannot even go into the details. This is just a short recap. I'm telling you, you need to see this match and see four men who are going to be the absolute future of not just NXT, but of the WWE universe. These are four of the best wrestlers in the business. These are guys that are also not going to be an embarrassment to the WWE. These are not drug addicts. These are not guys getting DWIs. These are not guys getting rap sheets and mug shots. These are outstanding athletes. I know many of these guys, with the exception of Tyler Breeze from the Indies. I'm telling you now, these four gentlemen, along with Kenta, are going to be what takes the WWE into that next great level of wrestling. Now, with that, we came to last week's episode, NXT September 18th, and the NXT Invasion official debut now begins. For those, again, if you don't know about NXT, you need to get the network and watch it. You got somebody that can get a hold of it, get a videotape of it. I'm showing my age. Get a download and watch it. Unbelievable match. We started out with, it was a brief recap as I just did of last week's Fatal 4-Way Super Show, and then out comes Titus O'Neil complaining that because that four guys wanted to show up on his show on Raw and take up his time, that he was going to come to NXT and take up their time, and it was going to be called NX Titus, I think he said it was. Ridiculous, as it would be. I like Titus. I think he's got a lot of potential. With that there, Sami Zayn came out with the most horrible music. I have to say, I detest the music, and gladly the crowd remembers him as El Generico, and the Ole, Ole, Ole sing-along goes throughout the crowd, blasting out any music that the WWE plays for him. The people know who Sami Zayn is. He has a war, the words with Titus, and out comes the NXT champion, who says that if anybody's going to defend NXT's honor, it would be him, not Sami Zayn. Basically showing more of that dark side, telling him that he's not good enough to be the champion, and certainly not good enough to represent NXT against an invader of the likes of Titus O'Neil. With that, we had Tyson Kidd come out and talk and smack about how great he was and about where he needed to be. And with all this, Regal came out and said, I thought this was a show about fighting and not whining. What we're going to have is a main event tonight. Adrian Neville, Sami Zayn versus Titus O'Neil and Tyson Kidd for the main event. And that, my friends, is a GM. William Regal is outstanding, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, a guy that should have had the world title. Unfortunately, it never got placed around his waist, but I digress. We then had a non-title women's match, returning Emma to NXT, going up against the champion Charlotte Flair. Again, I have to say the Divas are just pathetic compared to the NXT women's division. And my God, the match put on here by Emma and Charlotte was literally a 5 out of 5. These girls just poured it on and showed everybody what women's wrestling is all about. Not divas, not looking pretty. This was about professional wrestling, real women's wrestling. And if you'll notice with this, Charlotte is a second-generation wrestler. Emma has been in the business. Paige is a multi-generational. We have girls coming in that are not models, that are not actress wannabes, that are real wrestlers. And with this, Charlotte Flair won. It was not the greatest of matches, okay, being that it was over rather quick. Natural selection, of course, taking out Emma, and Charlotte Flair continues on. Woo! Carrying the lineage of her father, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Then we had Hideo Itami's official in-ring debut going up against Justin Gabriel. Justin Gabriel is one of the greatest wrestlers on the roster in NXT or anywhere in the WWE universe. He's been sorely and sadly misused since his debut with the Nexus, when he was buried and not used. He's one of the greatest high flyers and grapplers in the business, and in my opinion, if he does not excel here in NXT and they don't push him to that next level, if I was him, I would go to Japan. Justin Gabriel, I think, in New Japan Pro Wrestling would be a mega gaijin superstar. But with that, let's talk about this match. It was a nice, solid debut. It was far from the total kick style that Itami is able to put out. It was not a 5-star match, but the moves were there. Itami, and I'm going to slip and call him Kenta at times. It'll happen until I'm used to it. Him and Gabriel lit it up. The crowd were eating it up, loving every minute of it. Two of the best wrestlers in the business, and they're here in NXT. Your winner, Hideo Itami. The Ascension again stormed the ring, attacking Itami, and this time actually coming through and taking him out with the Fall of Man finisher, taking out their frustrations from the embarrassment of one losing their belts last week and then being beat down by Itami. Then we had a rematch. Apparently CJ Parker did not learn his lesson from last week and decided he was going to take on Baron Corbin one more time. And what we had was one more squash match, with Corbin taking the match a little longer than 30 seconds this time, but either way, he utterly and totally destroyed CJ Parker. CJ Parker is someone that needs a drastic makeover. He needs to be taken off TV for a while, and they need to come up with some kind of new gimmick for this guy, because this Save the Planet thing is just not something I'm interested in. The fans aren't interested in. It's a waste of time, and it's probably one of the worst things going on in NXT right now, and it's really the only thing I have to gripe about is his character out of most of the ones in the on the roster. Again, like an independent promotion, you got guys that are young and coming up, and you have to go through these periods of building guys. With that, we then had a vignette of Cassidy, Big Cass, and Enzo Amore working out with the video camera phone, going on, talking their thing, and out of nowhere comes Carmella. And Carmella comes in and tells them she wants a job, she wants to fight, she wants to be a wrestler. And Enzo pokes fun at her, says, "Y'all, you think you're tough, you could fight?" She's like, I got 5 brothers, I know how to fight, blah, blah, blah. And she hits him with a medicine ball and takes him out, and she leaves. Cass makes fun of him, laughs at him, goofs with him on the phone. It's funny stuff. These guys, again, are brilliant on the mic. They are going to be good, big stars. They just got to tweak it a little bit in the ring, and they're going to be there. Carmella, whether she's going to be a manager or a women's wrestler, I'm not sure yet. I think they'll bring her in probably in that manager position and then work her way into the actual women's division. We then had Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville in the main event, going up against Titus O'Neil and Tyson Kidd. This was a 3 out of 5 match. Every week just like anyone else, it's not always going to be 5-star matches, but there's nuances and things you need to see in these matches. The moves, the psychology, the way these guys are able to work the crowd and the camera, and all 4 of these guys have it. And the biggest problem I have right now with a character, and I believe they're playing this up in the way that it's kind of similar. Sami Zayn is playing himself as he was as El Generico, where Generico was always the guy that just didn't have it enough to always win. He was too much of a good guy and never would get into that intensity. And it always took somebody, either through a feud or a partner, to bring out that dark, vicious side that he had the ability to do. And I think that's what's being groomed right now. And he's already been signed. And I believe you will see Kevin Steen and Sami Zayn either together as a tag team or winding up in a feud with each other. There is no way that NXT will waste these 2 guys and not have them in the ring together one way or the other, with the history and the ability that they have put forth for the last 10, almost 15 years on the indie circuit. They are 2 of the best wrestlers in the business. They have run and ruled the roost from Ring of Honor to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and everywhere and anywhere in between. So that's my guess. I say Kevin Steen, Sami Zayn are the future, the next big thing to come into NXT. Don't forget, we also got Prince Devitt coming in, Fergal Devitt as he's being called right now. This match, of course, went to the faces. The match was won by Zayn and by Adrian Neville. Adrian still leaning towards that dark side, defending that belt and his honor any way he sees fit. And he is going to be one hell of a heel champion with the moveset that he has. And I do not see anybody taking him out of that championship spot for some time. With that, I am the show, Bill Schuyler. You can hit me at Twitter at YouGotTheShow. Again, After One and One Wrestling. Big Ray Show. Andre_Corbeil. Billy Ray Valentine. You know us, you got us all. The Can-Am Wrestling Show every Saturday night. One Wrestling goes old school on Thursdays. Monday night, Raw review. Wednesday night, Impact review. And now, every Friday night, One Wrestling NXT Invasion with me, the show, Bill Schuyler, bringing it to you, talking about everything and anything to do in the world of NXT. Please subscribe below, click that like mark, pass this on, retweet it, send it out on social media, Facebook, help a brother out, and let's get this show up and going. It may be a little rough around the edges right now. I apologize for that. Like I said, I'm rolling solo on this for my first one. It'll take a little bit of fine-tuning and tweaking to get this show in the way that I want it to be. But as I always do, I'm going to take it down the road. I'll see you there.